Now that we've talked about a bunch of the different network possibilities, settings and VPNs and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff, I want to look at some of the different commands that can really come in handy for things like troubleshooting and figuring out diagnostics for maybe why you can't connect across the internet or even connect to local machines in your own network. Okay, so first thing I'll show you real fast here is that I can go to Control Panel. If I go down and search Control, I can open up Control Panel, and I can go to the Network and Sharing Center, and you can go to the Network Diagnostic Troubleshooting. So if you go to Troubleshooting here, this will bring you into Diagnostics. It's gonna do a diagnostic test on your connection. It's gonna see if you got an internet connection, or maybe your NIC is down, your network interface card is down. It may even try restarting your NIC for you. But all in all, I wouldn't count too much on the diagnostic tool fixing a lot of problems for you. It can come in handy though. In certain situations. I've had scenarios where maybe I got disconnected from Wi-Fi and I couldn't reconnect, but then when I went through the troubleshooter and it reset things for me, I was able to get in. So you never know, but it is something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is the event log. You go down here and type event, you can go into Event Viewer. I'm going to talk more about Event Viewer a little bit later in this course, but I can go in this Windows logs here and I can look at this thing called the system log, and this will show me if I've got any problems going on related to the operating system and being able to get out to the network, all that. Sometimes the system log does take some time to load because it's got a lot of events, as you can see here. But the system log is a place you can check. And then, of course, there's a ton of commands that we can use for troubleshooting the Windows world as well. Okay, you can run these in PowerShell. You can run them in regular command prompt if you want. I'm going to do them in PowerShell, but you can go into regular command prompt and run these as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to PowerShell as an administrator. I like PowerShell just because it's easy for me to adjust my font settings for you guys. Up the font, make it bigger so you can see it a little clearer. Okay, so here we go. We're in PowerShell. All right. And I'm just going to clear my screen, make it clear here. The first command I want to show you guys is called ipconfig. I can type ipconfig and I can see my TCP/IP settings here. Here is a virtual the NIC that I've got on my machine is a virtual NIC, but it's called the internal NIC, and as you can see, it's got an IPv6 address called FE80. That's what an IP version 6 address looks like, which is actually just called a link local address. This means that I was not able to get an address from my DHCP server for v6, so my computer actually gave itself an address. But you can kind of ignore that one right now. Look at the version 4, though. You saw me earlier configure my version 4. It's 192.168.0.20. My subnet mask is here, which is that /24 subnet mask, and then my default gateway, which is my router, is 192.168.0.10. I can also do ipconfig/all, and I can see all of my IP configuration. So I can see my computer name, my DNS suffix for my computer, okay? I can see what the physical address is of the adapter, the MAC address. See, I talked about MAC addresses earlier, so there's the MAC address. I'm not using DHCP, as you can see. I can see who my DNS server is for name resolution. Okay, you can also do an ipconfig/?, like that, and you can see all the switches that are available when it comes to ipconfig. So, for example, if I was getting an address from DHCP, I could type ipconfig/release, and if I wanted to release my address back to DHCP, I could. And then if I wanted to renew it, I could change this to the word renew, and it would renew my address from DHCP. There's not really a lot of reasons to do that. One reason you might do it is because you know that DHCP has been reconfigured and you wanted to get the updated configuration on the machine. Of course, you could reboot the machine and that'll do it as well. Okay. You can also do a command called ipconfig/displaydns. Okay, so when you go to somewhere on a network and you type the name of a computer, your computer's got to ask DNS what the IP address is of where you're going. Your computer will remember that IP address for a certain amount of time. Okay, so if you look here, you'll notice that I've got all these entries on things that my computer has asked. And if you look closely, you'll see there's a time to live, TTL. That time to live is counting down in seconds. So if you look, this is 23:37, and then now it's going to be 23:33, and I'm going to refresh it, and it's 2330, and I refresh it again, and it's 2328. You can see that it's counting down in seconds. So what'll happen is eventually this time to live on all these entries will go away, and the next time I go to any of these places, my computer will have to ask DNS. Now you may say, I didn't actually type all these names in. Well, it really doesn't matter if you typed all the names in or not. When you go to one website, it has all sorts of things that it links to, so you end up caching a lot of names. This is called your DNS cache, and it makes it where your computer doesn't have to keep asking DNS information. Now, if you know some IP address has changed and you would like to force your computer to forget what it knows regarding DNS, you can type ipconfig/flushdns. It's going to clear your cache, and now your computer currently has got a clear cache. So if I say /display DNS again, you're going to notice that it no longer has that information. But if I have to ask DNS something again, okay, like if I was to open up my web browser and I was to go to a certain website, it's going to go out and query. Like right now it's querying DNS. Now watch this. It's going to end up caching stuff again. So we'll hit enter, and you're going to notice that it actually will have that stuff in there. Okay, it's kind of going a little bit slow because this little virtual machine doesn't have a tremendous amount of memory. But as you can see, because of my web browser, it did though cache some information that's going to show up in that in your command line. All right. So anyway, that's what display DNS is going to do for you, and flush DNS. And as you can see, it cached a whole bunch of things just going to the Microsoft.com website just now. Cached a lot of entries there. Okay. So that's what flush DNS does. Now there's another great command called ping. Ping stands for Packet Internet Groper. Ping uses a protocol known as ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol, Internet Control Message Protocol. And what ping does is it sends a clear text message somewhere and asks for the device to reply back. So if I wanted, I could say ping google.com, and it's going to send some traffic to Google, and Google will reply back with a response if Google is accepting pings. Now, a lot of companies block pinging. Like if I try to ping Microsoft.com, you're going to notice that even though the name got resolved by DNS to this address, Microsoft does not reply back. And it's because their firewall is blocking pings, because hackers have been known to use ping to perform attacks called DOS attacks, denial of service attacks. Okay. I can also, though, like if I want to do Google, I can say google.com, ping google.com-t, and this is kind of a neat little switch. It lets you do an infinite loop. This is great if you're troubleshooting an internet connection. Okay. Great way just to see if your internet connection's up. Now, what if you could not ping by name, but you could ping by IP address? Okay. That would tell you something that's going on. That would tell you that apparently there is a DNS problem going on. If you can ping by name, you can't ping by name, but you can ping by IP address, like I'm pinging 8.8.8.8, then that tells you there's a DNS problem usually. Okay, but ping is a great command. Just keep in mind a lot of firewalls are going to block ping. Okay, so the next command I want to show you is called traceRT, which is short for traceroute. I'm going to do traceRT against google.com. This is going to show you every router that your packets are traveling through in order to get to a destination. Okay, my traffic is actually having to pass through this NYC DC1 because that's my router. Okay, and then it's going to hop through my router that's in the building I'm in right now, and it's going to hop through the different routers on the internet that I'm using. But you'll notice there's 3 numbers here that say MS. Those are milliseconds. It's sending 3 packets, 3 little bits of information to each location and getting a reply. You can tell that I'm on a Comcast internet right now. Okay, so these are called hops. Every router your traffic has to pass through is a hop. Okay, so that's what traceroute is going to do for you. Keep in mind that if there's a firewall or router out there that's blocking the ICMP protocol, Internet Control Message Protocol, then it will eventually just completely time out. That's what it's doing here. You'll notice it's timing out on me because apparently there's a router firewall out there between me and Google that's blocking it. So it's not always a foolproof protocol, but you can get a good feel for where your traffic is flowing if you use that tool. Another great tool is called path ping. I'm going to do a path ping against my LUN DC1, NYC DC1 machine. Okay, so I'm going to do that. What this is going to do, it's going to send 100 packets to that server on the network, and it's going to ask it to reply all those packets back. Now, this is handy because it's going to tell you packet loss. It's going to tell you how many packets get out there and how many packets don't come back. Okay, I actually worked in an environment one time as a consultant, and a company said that their internet connection was really slow between buildings, and it turned out this company had ran a Cat5 cable between the two buildings, and the two building distance-wise was 800 feet apart. Well, if you know anything about cabling, Category 5 cabling, twisted pair, you're really only supposed to go a maximum of about 326 feet. And they were going 800 feet. So a lot of their traffic wasn't making it. Ended up, when I got this little report back, I ran this path ping between the two buildings. When I got it back, it showed an 86% packet loss. This is really good, though, for checking packet loss. I use it in wireless networks a lot of times. When I feel like maybe my wireless signal is getting grounded out, I'll do a path ping between my computer and the access point. Okay. The only downside about path ping, it's a bit of a slow command. For every hop that you do a ping through, it's going to take 25 seconds. So if I had to jump through, 8 different devices, 8 routers or whatever to do the path ping, it's going to be 8 times 25 seconds. So it's a bit of a slow command. Another handy command is called netstat. Netstat will show you all of the sessions your computer has open right now. Okay. So it'll show you all the computers you're connected to from where I'm at to the places that I'm connected to right now. And it'll tell you the state of the connection, if it's still open or not. There's a really helpful switch with this. I can do netstat-A. It'll show me all my ports that are open. And my favorite of all is netstat-NAB. NAB. Basically, this is going to show me all the ports that are open, and it's going to show me the programs running on my computer that are using those ports and the things that they're connected to. So that's a really helpful one as well. The last little command I want to show you right now is called NSLOOKUP. This is a DNS troubleshooting command. And I can say NSLOOKUP, name server lookup, and I can type a name like google.com. And it's going to show me server. The server name you see here, this is the server I got my information from. My computer was not able to do something called a reverse lookup against that server, so it just says unknown. But it's this server here. That's my DNS server. He's the one that gave me the response. He gives me what's called a non-authoritative answer. That means that my server doesn't own Google's name. That's what non-authoritative is going to mean. But my DNS server responded back, and it said google.com. Here's Google's IP version 6 address. And then here's their IP version 4 addresses for where I'm at. Now, Google has over 1 million servers worldwide, so if you run this command right now, you may get a different output than me. Okay, let's do that against Facebook, and I want to show you something kind of interesting. Okay, so I ran it against Facebook. Look, it gives me their version 6 address, but look what their version 6 address is. They put the word Facebook in there. Kind of interesting. Anyway, you can do that. You can do NSLOOKUP against all sorts of things. You can even do NSLOOKUP-D2, which is means detail level 2, which is the highest level of detail. And you can have your DNS server give you that information. So if I did this against my domain name here, examlabpractice.com, it's going to dump all the DNS information from the DNS server about that name. And if you get skilled in DNS and understand a lot about DNS, you could troubleshoot DNS-related problems that way. Obviously, this is not a server class, so we're not really going to get too deep into that, but you could use that command to help you troubleshoot DNS-type problems. So hopefully that gives you guys a quick rundown of some of the different troubleshooting commands we use and different methods we can use for troubleshooting connections in our environment, and help you try that stuff out in your own environments. I definitely encourage you to try all this out yourself and get a little hands-on experience with it.